Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. Joyce, it's a Sunday night, as you can tell, because I'm sitting in the dark. And we're going to talk
It's been a long Sunday.
We're going to talk about. It feels like the Sunday lasted for 2 days because the DGA Awards announced their winners well into the early morning hours, I would say,
As
on
usual.
the East Coast. And then now in the afternoon, we had the BAFTA Awards.
Yeah, the BAFTAs ended like 6 hours ago.
We were busy, Joyce. I mean, come
We
on.
were busy. I was at Chuck E. Cheese when the BAFTAs were happening. I was just at Chuck E. Cheese playing skee ball, checking Twitter every now and then for the winners.
I was at the Long Island Children's Museum myself.
I've been there frequently. So
we went because they had a Mo Willems exhibit there, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of running around and climbing on things and looking at Twitter and seeing Barry Keoghan.
So you had the same experience as me. So.
Yes. Seeing Barry Keoghan and Kerry Condon winning BAFTA Awards for Banshees of Inisherin. The taste, Joyce, impeccable taste from the BAFTAs in those categories, I would say.
I'm glad they got awards for their performances, even if they don't win the Oscar. Yeah. So I know. And I did switch to Kerry ultimately, so I'm glad. Because I was feeling her for a while. And then I had Angela, but I was like, you know what? They're before the SAGs this year.
Yeah. So BAFTA Awards, right? We'll start there and we'll talk about the DGA Awards. If you're watching this and somehow don't know who won these things, the Daniels won at the DGA Awards, and then All Quiet on the Western Front won 7 BAFTA Awards out of its 14 nominations, including Best Film and Best Director.
Edward Berger, who was not nominated at DGA and is not nominated at the Oscars.
I know at least I know one of our contributors, I think Charlie Bright had Edward Berger winning Best Director. I can't imagine a lot of people went out on that limb though.
I think most people had the Daniels, and if not the Daniels, Todd Field, and if not Todd Field, Martin McDonagh.
I have Edward Berger sitting comfortably in 4th place, and
yeah, and then like I said last week, the reason I saved the Daniels was that I thought that there were too many alternates to them, but then they just, again, like we also said last week, they just love war movies over there.
So they love war movies, and they did not seem to really warm to Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think it won 1 award for best.
It won editing.
Didn't even win Ki Hu Kwan.
No. And remember when we were like, we never talk about supporting actor again.
And that Barry Keoghan one instead of Brendan Gleeson, I found like hilarious and also perfect, because I do think that actually maybe is fair. BAFTA is going to BAFTA, I guess. They don't really love rubber stamping a lot of times these supporting winners, it seems. Not often.
No, I do think it helps that they were before SAGs this year, so they were less rubber stampy. I mean, they have gone their own way before, like Anthony Hopkins over Chadwick Boseman 2 years ago. And so that presaged his Oscar win. So, and obviously we knew that like Banshees, being an Irish film,
right,
was going to be a big hit over there in the UK.
Yes.
And like the 3 things that they love the most had a really good night. Martin McDonagh films.
Yes.
War films, and Baz Luhrmann films.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start, Joyce? We could talk about so I don't think either one of us are expecting All Quiet on the Western Front to win Best Picture at the Oscars. We could start there, I guess.
Would you have it as the alternate now?
I don't know. I think I still want to wait to see what happens to the PGA Awards, because I still think
it's not nominated at PGA.
I know, but I think if Top Gun wins a PGA, that would be indicative of Top Gun's strength, right? Like, this was not a night when Top Gun was going to shine at the BAFTAs, obviously.
No, it lost all 4 of its nominations. So, but like the thing is, Everything Everywhere is still a strong Guild movie, so it could just win the rest of the top guilds, because Banshees isn't eligible at WGA.
Right.
So it's got that unlock. It's probably gonna win SAG Ensemble next week. Yes. It already has DGA. So then PGA is on a preferential ballot like the Oscars. So that's the one.
So
it needs.
If Everything Ever loses at PGA and Top Gun wins, I think you can make a strong case for All Quiet or Top Gun winning, and I'll be curious to see how that would play out. I was talking to somebody this past week, Joyce, and they were saying like their impression is this is an insider, Joyce, not a voter or anything, but an insider, and they were saying All Quiet is going to be really great on a preferential ballot because if you love Tar and it's your number one, maybe All Quiet's your number two. I assume there was a German connection there, right? Because the Tar is so much in Berlin.
Was this person German?
No. But they were saying, and if you like Top Gun, maybe All Quiet is number two. I have a hard time connecting people who love Everything Everywhere with All Quiet, so maybe that doesn't need to be there. But I guess the idea is that a lot of people are going to be pretty high on All Quiet, and it'll probably be in their top three of these of the Best Picture nominees. I mean, stranger things have happened. I just think there's not a lot of passion for the movie, and I think it could win like legitimately like 3 or 4 Oscars very easily without winning Best Picture.
I think the Brits were always going to love All Quiet more than Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, it, like obviously it got more nominations there than at the Oscars.
Right.
So, and I feel like they're more also like Navalny won doc over there.
Yes.
So I feel like there's just, very heavy anti-war sentiment.
Yeah, certainly. Clearly.
So, but I think, like in Top Gun's case, that's clearly it's a way more American movie that will have much greater appeal here. Same thing with Everything Everywhere.
Right.
Like we already saw from between the Globes and the BAFTAs, like international voters' support is not quite there.
Right.
For that film overall. Yes. So.
And with the Academy specifically, if All Quiet was such a strong, and again, I think I have it 4th right now in my Best Picture odds. I was just looking, but I could see moving up to like 3 or maybe 2, I guess. But I still have like Top Gun and Banshees above it. Maybe that's silly. But wouldn't Edward Berger probably should have gotten a director nomination? Like if it was going to be.
No, I mean, I'm not surprised that he didn't. We always talk about like how it felt weird. No offense to him, it felt weird predicting him for the 5th spot in director, and he obviously didn't get it. So, but I think like his win here at BAFTA just helps the Daniels because there's like no clear alternate.
Well, that was my big takeaway from that race, right? Like I felt like Todd Field, if I was going to make the case for him to win Best Director, would have had a win here. The fact that the Daniels didn't win, but it was Edward Berger and not Todd Field or
yeah, like none of their Oscar competitors made a gain. Obviously, Steven Spielberg could not.
Right. So I'm like,
so you could argue that also helps Stephen.
So I feel like the Daniels actually now are pretty locked in for Best Director at the Oscars, not just because they won DGA, but because Edward Berger won BAFTA. That actually helps the Daniels as well. So I still think you end up with Everything Everywhere and the Daniels winning. But I mean, I guess I could see a case where All Quiet comes through. I mean, I guess the case against Everything Everywhere is that people still want to say it's a polarizing movie, more so than like.
I think it's just like a lot more well liked stateside.
Yeah.
Than it is abroad, even though obviously they've tried to diversify the Academy the last like 7 years, a lot more international voters. So I don't know, we'll see. Like, like PGA, that's also a lot more broad group too.
Right.
So you could argue like Everything Everywhere can win there and lose at the Oscars. But this could just be like another 1917 scenario too. It also won 7 BAFTAs last time, or like their only time.
Right.
And yeah, did not win Best Picture.
No, I would not jump on All Quiet winning Best Picture even after this, but obviously it's a top contender.
Yeah, and obviously that in that case, like Parasite was like clearly the strong alternate, and I just like right now it's still murky as to what that alternate is to Everything Everywhere, and again, All Quiet can make that gain at PGA. So I think most people will probably alt Top Gun at PGA. Like I love Banshees, but I don't really see Banshees winning PGA.
No, I think while it did win the 2 acting awards here, I think Banshees would. I don't know. I don't think it's a serious threat now to win Best Picture. I would say even a PGA.
I don't even know where I have. I probably have it in like 3rd in PGA, but yeah, Everything Everywhere can sweep the guilds
right
here. So,
and
but we've had the Globes went to Banshees and Fabelmans.
Right.
Critics' Choice obviously went to Everything Everywhere.
Right.
And BAFTA went to All Quiet.
Right. And next, I guess we'll see where SAG goes and PGA.
SAG will probably, like, those two of them can just go to Everything Everywhere.
To me, it feels like if Everything Ever lost one of those two, I would seriously consider picking against it for Best Picture. But if it won those two, I would just continue to have it as Best Picture, basically.
Yeah, so I don't even know, because I think most people at BAFTA had Banshees winning. So I'm assuming All Quiet was in third.
It looks like it was in third. I had Everything Everywhere first, Banshees second, and All Quiet in third. But from the odds perspective, I think Banshees was first, then Everything Everywhere, and then All Quiet.
So the first award they gave out at BAFTA was Adapted Screenplay.
Yes.
And All Quiet won that. So I just kind of had shades of Coda winning Adapted Screenplay last year, which was like, whoa.
So,
and I mean, we talked about this, like, we figured at BAFTA it was between All Quiet and Living.
yes.
I would have given it to Living.
So I was saying, I think I had 50, I'm looking now, I had 54% accuracy at BAFTA. Really, really barn burner. But a lot of my runner-ups would have been great picks. So I had All Quiet winning and runner-up as Adapted Screenplay. And like we said, I think it has a very strong chance of winning at the Oscars. And I actually have it predicted to win at the Oscars. But I just thought Living would win here. Stupid, because All Quiet just won. And I feel like that's an easy win for it at the Oscars now, because it's not just a beloved film, but it allows Edward Berger to win an Oscar. And like, whether or not they want to celebrate him, I don't know. But
I don't think they are concerned about giving Edward Berger an Oscar.
Give Edward Berger an Oscar.
If that script wins, it's just like they like the movie, and
I do think it's going to win.
That's a very chaotic category in the first place.
Yeah, I absolutely.
So I think Sarah Polley will definitely need to win WGA.
Yeah, it just feels like women talking. I feel like not one person has talked about it since it got nominated. Completely just fell off the map. It feels.
It's just, I mean, it deserved better this season. Just very rough go of it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it squeaked in to Best Picture.
Me too. And as it turns out, so All Quiet wins Best Picture or Best Film and Best Director for Edward Berger. The acting categories at BAFTA, Joyce. Cate Blanchett, Best Actress. We kind of expected this. Lydia Tarr might not have a BAFTA, but Kate does.
We decided in our column on Friday that Lydia Tarr did not win a BAFTA.
No, but Kate now has 4.
She has 4, yes.
Good for her.
3 in this category.
This not to repeat what we said, but I was like, if she would have lost, I would have maybe reconsidered predicting her at the Oscars, but I'm not going to. I actually think she's going to win at SAG too. I think it's just like a steamroll for Kate.
She's the only person who's capable of sweeping.
Yeah, and I feel like she actually might. Best Actor, Joyce. This was a big one for a lot of people, but not us, because we have been on the Austin Butler train, choo-choo, the Oscars for months. But Colin Farrell did not win at BAFTA, and neither did Brendan Fraser, the whale, setting sail in third place, at least for me. But it was Austin Butler who won for Best Actor.
Yeah. This was only like truly shocking on the heels of Barry and Carrie winning supporting, because it kind of feels like, how do you give it to them and not Colin, you know? But again, they love Baz Luhrmann movies.
So they love Baz Luhrmann movies. I think it won 4 BAFTAs, right? On Sunday night at the BAFTAs. I think it won 4.
And so it also won casting, which we talked about last week too. And it's like, what are they actually awarding here? Like, we know it goes to the casting director.
They're rewarding that
they're rewarding like Austin Butler.
Austin Butler exists, right? They're like, thank you, Austin Butler.
But it's just, another biopic performance, and yeah.
Is it 7 out of 10 Best Actor winners are biopics? Is that right, or real people?
I mean, biopic performances are the most popular in this category.
So for Best Actor, the last few winners, Will Smith. Do you remember him? Whatever happened? I don't know. It seemed like people were excited that he won Best Actor last year.
People definitely wanted him to win Best Actor for like 10 months ongoing. So, Anthony Hopkins, that was a fake character, fictional. Right. Joaquin,
the Joker,
fictional. Rami Malek, real.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman, real.
Yeah.
Casey Affleck, fictional.
Yes.
Leo, Hugo Glass is real.
Yes.
Eddie Redmayne, real.
Yes.
Matthew McConaughey, real.
Yes.
Daniel Day-Lewis, real.
Yes.
Jean Dujardin, fake.
Fake. King's
Colin Firth,
real.
yeah. Jeff Bridges, fake. Sean Penn, real.
Yes.
And
then
Daniel
There Will Be
Day-Lewis
Blood.
again,
Fake.
fictional. Forrest Whitaker, real. Philip Seymour Hoffman, real. Jamie Foxx, real. Should we keep going?
Sean Penn and Mr. River.
Sean Penn,
fake.
fictional. Adrian Brody, real.
Real.
Denzel, fictional. Russell Crowe, fictional. That's the century.
So a lot of real, as it turns out. So the fact that Austin Butler is playing Elvis Presley, it seems like, no kidding, he's going to win Best Actor. Now we've said that for a while, and
I mean, I've always had him. I mean, I know you flirted with, you put Brendan in first.
I did flirt with Brendan for about a hot second, but I've been mostly Austin Butler focused for months, and I remain highly excited about his Oscar win, because I can't wait to hear him go up and do the voice.
So I saw his speech, and like he's like phasing out his voice.
He
really, yeah.
Well, he said he's got permanent vocal cord damage.
Yeah. I also watched his Hot Ones, very charming, especially when he makes the PB&J at the end, because that's his comfort food.
Yeah.
So the voice is not as heavy in there either, and that's like a full 30 minutes.
I also feel like he's taken it to a third or fourth gear here in phase 2. He is way more on the. He's getting more clicks, it feels like, than either Brendan or Colin, maybe.
He's very visible. He's done a lot of press in the past week.
And he seems to know what to say to get headlines. I drank Häagen-Dazs was one of the ones I saw this week.
To be fair, he gets asked a lot of these questions, and then there's a lot of potential for breakouts too.
Yeah, that's it. It's a lot of breakouts. Like
Zoe 101,
right.
Or my fave, The Carrie Diaries.
Love it. Yeah. So I feel like Good Night the Lights on that Best Actor category. I don't know. We said, we both maybe had hoped Colin Farrell, it seemed likely he would win here. That he didn't.
My personal pick would be Colin, and I said that I would switch to him if he won BAFTA, and he did not. Right. So because I felt like if he won BAFTA, he could follow the Olivia Colman path.
Yes.
So I'm keeping Austin, and I've said before that Austin always felt like the one who could win both BAFTA and SAG.
Yes.
Whereas Colin and Brendan felt like they could just win one and not the other. Like Colin felt like he could just win BAFTA, and I've always had him in third at SAG.
Yes.
And Brendan felt like he could win SAG, but not BAFTA.
So now I don't think Brendan is going to win SAG either, honestly. It just seems like Colin.
I also don't even think it matters if he wins SAG. Like I have him at second at SAG. But I think just like Austin, he has BAFTA. He has a stronger movie, Best Picture nominee.
It's a stronger movie. The other thing is, I think we had said this, like, honestly, like back in September, October, but it's like the Brendan narrative, the hook of the Brendan thing, besides the performance that people were obviously very attached to, at least some people, and some people did not like that movie at all, obviously, very polarizing. But the hook for Brendan was like the comeback kid. And then Q Kwan was just totally usurped that narrative. And it's hard to have two of those winners in the same year. It just is. I can't even remember, like, there's rarely a case I could think of where it's like two of those same narratives in the same year that are
it's not even that, but Key obviously has the stronger film too.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you're not going to have he's the comeback guy, and you're not going to have Brendan.
And he's
also
coming from a longer time away. Yeah. Like, he's coming from the older movies too.
You can't have two comeback guys. You just can't do it. And so Austin checks off the boxes of like the young, like, guy playing a real person, doing his singing. We just did this with Rami Malek. I'd say Elvis is a better movie, and there you go. And I think
it's also a better performance.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think like I think the early hype for Brendan was obviously, oh my God, he's playing the 600-pound man, like the glam, so to speak, in quotes, prosthetics, obviously, and comeback, and people are nostalgic for his movies. But we've talked about this before. I think the core group that's nostalgic for his movies are like our age group, like young Gen X and old millennials.
Yes, he's like the Phantom Menace of the category.
So, and then like love The Mummy, love George of the Jungle. I watched that in school. But I don't know how much of a broad swath of industry folks are nostalgic for that movie. And yeah, like you said, like The Whale is polarizing. It did not get, like the PJ nom for The Whale was a mirage because it didn't make Best Picture at the Oscars. It got the screenplay nomination at BAFTA, did not get the screenplay nomination at the Oscars.
Right.
And yeah, he's in a weaker movie. Best Actor is so strongly linked to Best Picture. Like, you need your film to be a Best Picture nominee. And I think it's just, I understand wanting him to win. I think that's a lot of like the film Twitter love. And I get, like, it'll be great to see him win. Like, he seems like a lovely man. You talk to him.
Very nice. Very kind. Yeah. I think he's a good man.
Yeah. So like it's a nice story, and I understand wanting that for him. And I think that's also why he won Critics' Choice.
Yeah, for sure. He seems, at least outwardly so. Who knows? It is very much a mirror, I feel like, of The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, right? Where it was like a great comeback story in a Darren Aronofsky movie. That performance did not end up, the movie was more polarizing. Mickey Rourke was definitely more polarizing. So certainly not as interested in playing the part as Brendan has been, I would say. If that sounds diplomatic enough. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and Mickey at least won BAFTA.
Right. So really maybe a cross off for Brendan, potentially.
He also won the Globe, which Brendan was,
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah, I think maybe in a weaker year he probably could have pulled it off, but he's up against two people in stronger films, and one of them is another transformative baby role playing an American icon.
That is the big thing, right?
Yeah, and then I think a lot of people throughout the season have been trying to downplay Austin's chances, and because he's young, and like he's not like 20 like Gabriel Labelle or something. Like, right. If he were, then I'd be more concerned, but he's 31, which is fine.
Yeah. Like, it's like
Eddie Redmayne was 33 when he won.
Yeah. It's like Eddie Redmayne and Rami Malek put together, basically.
Yeah, like Rami was like older, but still, it's like it's like, and people love that movie, and yeah, so
we'll see. I mean, like if Brendan Fraser wins SAG, I'll be on here next weekend being like, God damn it, Brendan Fraser, here we come. Want to win the Oscar. Gave a great speech. I love the speech stuff.
It's like, Austin would still have the BAFTA.
Sure. But Brendan has a great speech. It's on YouTube, Joyce. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm not going to move off him. I have a hard time thinking I will. But a lot of people, I assume, will move to us, Joyce, into the Austin camp here after BAFTAs. I assume he'll be a riser.
Have the odds shifted at all in the last?
I don't even know. Let me look. Last we checked on Wednesday of last week, remember we said Brendan Fraser had double combined. If you added up Austin and Colin, it's still, he would not have been overtaken by either one. Let's take a look here how it looks. Site's slow loading, Joyce, because we're talking here. Let's see. Austin has shot up, but he's still about 1,300 votes behind Brendan, and Colin has now fallen to a distance.
I suspect a lot of the Fraser heads are still holding on to SAG.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of the Michelle Yeoh stands same way too.
Yeah, she's still behind Kate, but Kate has a pretty comfortable lead. The Daniels up top, and then Everything Everywhere still just blowing it out. Not a lot of people predicting All Quiet for Best Picture. It's not even in the top 5. It's sixth in our odds, cumulatively.
It'll be just so funny if Netflix's first Best Picture win is for All Quiet.
That would be one of the most shocking things ever. A movie not even Netflix could be excited about like 3 months ago, seemingly.
But also kind of fitting in a way because we've seen them try so hard, even like this past season, with their top pony before the fall. Like, we knew what it was, what they were going to push.
Right.
And they've stumbled, and All Quiet was clearly not their number one this year.
But I mean, that's like how you find,
because it's like, people just found it and they
organically like it, basically, instead of forced to like it. So here's a range. So we could talk about this. I don't think you're going to change your picks, but I could very much be swayed to this. For supporting actress choice, Kerry Condon won over Angela Bassett. And I predicted this, and you switched to it too. What if this is like a sign that she could win at the Oscars?
I think so. The way that the ceremony shook out today is interesting, because I think if Banshees had won more awards, like if it also won Best Picture and for Colin, you could be more dismissive of Carrie and Barry's wins. But the fact that it was the two, like they're the two acting wins and not the two leads, basically, or like the central relationship of the film, is I think, well, so I think Angela was the most vulnerable to lose of the four frontrunners, as we know, because she was the lone nominee for Black Panther. And obviously Banshees is much stronger. So I don't think in a vacuum, Angela's loss is surprising. And I think if Banshees had won the other awards, then you could be like, oh, this is just like BAFTA going for like, you know, their hometown girl. But I do think Angela can probably still win the Oscar because I think she's going to win SAG. Like they gave it Black Panther Ensemble last time, and they're just so much more mainstream, populist, and they love narratives. No one loves narratives more than SAG. So like she's going to have SAG. So she's going to have 3 of the major precursors. And she's also just a lot more beloved, you know, actress stateside too.
Right. So we'll talk about Key and Barry in a second, but I think I think this could apply to Barry, but not on a greater scale. I just am not like, again, this could be my bias against, or not against, but just like again, we were surprised that Angela Bassett like materializes like this steamroller, right? Like I think neither one of us expected that, maybe like when Black Panther was screening, let's say.
No, I mean, like that was, and
and I still
like I've said, like I wouldn't be surprised if she won SAG, like if she pulled an Emily Blunt, like and like winning SAG when she's not a Oscar nominee, which is not the case.
So that's what we were expecting. And I just am like, there's a huge amount of passion for Angela Bassett. Obviously, she's like a beloved actor who should have more than one Oscar probably, and is an incredible performer, and everyone seems to like her. And that's reason alone to have her win here for Black Panther. But I'm like, is there a lot of support for her performance in Black Panther versus her? And then is there more? There definitely seems like there's more passion, at least, and that might be my bias because I'm like a passionate fan of the Carrie Condon performance. I think she's awesome in Banshees. Is there more passion for that performance in particular? And does this end up being like a Anthony Hopkins versus, you know, Chadwick Boseman kind of thing, where it's just is like, well, we all love Angela Bassett, and we want her to have an Oscar, but when push comes to shove and vote for my favorite performance, it's that performance, because I'm not voting for the actor, I'm voting for the performance. Now, maybe it doesn't mean anything, and maybe people just vote for Angela Bassett because they like Angela Bassett. Seems very likely, but I'm like, I really could see that playing out. And I guess even if she wins SAG, I'm going to be debating that in my head up until the final time we pick, basically.
Well, because of Colin's loss today, Carrie is really Banshee's only viable acting winner now. Like I think he is still gonna win the Oscar. Like he is a lot stronger than Angela.
Right.
So I think like it's come back to Carrie that she could be the acting representative for Banshees. Like the Oscars love Banshees too. So yeah, like you could say, you know, BAFTA was not into Black Panther.
Right.
You know, last time it only had 1 nomination for visual effects, which it actually won. And it has 5 nominations at the Oscars, but you know, she's like no best picture this time, and she's gonna be she could be like its only win, which is fine, like whatever. But yeah, like I think there's also like there could be the Marvel bias playing against her as well, because even though obviously we've had 2 Joker performances win, like they're not the same thing.
They're DC, Joyce. The Academy loves DC.
They like DC, they don't like Marvel. But those are also grittier performances.
Right. They're hashtag Snyder Cut fans, not Marvel MCU fans.
And I think, I mean, you made the comp to Lauren Bacall and Juliette Binoche.
Yes.
Which I don't like. I think those races are different. But I can see this sort of being like Mark Rylance and Sylvester Stallone.
That's another one that's really good. Yeah, exactly right. Because it's like, the Stallone, I think it was different a little bit because I think the Stallone performance.
Stallone also missed at SAG, so he wasn't
right.
Stallone,
I also think wasn't very as well liked as Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think the performance was good and people loved the performance and they were like, we don't love Stallone, so we'd rather give Mark Rylance this Oscar. Here, I think they love Angela Bassett, but they're like, I think the performance might be better. I don't know. I don't know what, I mean, no one, she is still well out in front, at least right now. Who knows? People change their tune here going into the week, but I could really see her not winning. Also, it might not be the only, it might actually at the Oscars be the only place where Banshees wins. A very easy chance it could go.
It could be like, it could still win her and screenplay. Yes. I think it actually, like, its performance today helps Martin.
Yes.
So even though I know, like, everyone was predicting him to win screenplay, but it's more that, like, Everything Everywhere did not do as well. So
it
also only won one award. So
right. That fact that reminds me of Nomadland. Remember, we were like, is Chloe Zhao gonna win like 3 Oscars?
Yeah, and I never really predicted Nomadland for screenplay. Like, right. It was just not a screenplay winner. So then once, like, The Father was materializing, I was like, it's going to The Father.
So, like, in this, I feel like now that the Daniels seemingly are more locked in at director, and they're already going to win probably Best Picture, then the screenplay actually could go to Banshees rather than Everything Everywhere. So I could see winning there and Kerry Condon for 2 Oscars, basically.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know. I guess we're back to what it felt like in late December, that Kerry could be this acting win for Banshees. I wouldn't say she's a front runner.
No. That was like a week in December when Women Talking
it was like the last week in December.
Yeah, when Women Talking flopped, and we were waiting to see who would come in as a contender to take over the Jessie Buckley Memorial spot as the front runner.
Yeah, so but like between them, like her and Barry winning and Colin losing, it's right. Yeah, but I think Barry's win is more impressive because Key was dominating so hard and, you know, swept the big 3 Critics Awards, like almost everything, and in a very strong movie, but clearly not as liked by BAFTA over there. Sure. And Barry also overcame his veteran co-star.
Correct. Incredible win. I feel like it's like one of the most shocking wins. There's no, I don't know, did anybody have like,
I wouldn't say it's shocking. Like, it was definitely a surprise.
Well, I mean, like, the category had 6 nominees, only 3 of which were taken seriously as even possibly contending. Yeah. The other 3 nominees were Albert Stuck from All Quiet, Michael Ward from Empire of Light.
Maybe like based on All Quiet's performance, maybe he was like in 3rd or something.
And then Eddie Redmayne, and then Keo Kwan, Brendan Gleeson, and Barry Keoghan. Yeah, that was a great win. The difference I think between Key and Angela is that Key is got a performance that people are passionate about, plus they're passionate about his narrative, plus the movie is obviously a juggernaut. So I think he has more things that would easily hold. I'm not surprised Barry Keoghan has a lot of passion, but I think that was how he got nominated, and it ended up being like easy for him to get in. Maybe people love that performance and they love him as an actor, but I just don't think there's enough there to have him seriously consider as a usurping Keo Kwan.
I think he will win SAG and the Oscar, just like this, like Everything Everywhere is the stronger movie, or is, you know, out front now ahead of Banshees. And it's funny because they both have like viral moments that people love. You know, Key has the laundry and taxes scene, and Barry has the scene with Carrie at the lake. So maybe that's why, like, it's like a pair. It's like you vote for one, you got to vote for the other, because people just love that scene, you know? So it's obviously a beloved performance. So I think he could be runner up. I guess I wouldn't be shocked if he won SAG either. Because it's like people just love that performance, and it's not a super showy turn, but I think, like, as a whole, like, once he exits the movie, like after his last scene, it really hits you.
I mean, like, I like that movie a lot. I think I like it slightly less than you, but I would say that the best parts of the movie for me are Kerry Condon and Barry Keoghan. Like they're my favorite parts. Nothing against Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, but they pop off the screen. Like Barry's so good in the movie. He's so funny and so heartbreaking, and it's like just a great performance. So I could see people being really passionate about it, but I cannot imagine him losing at SAG. I just think that's like seems so
like
strange.
SAG is just everything everywhere's playground scene.
Yeah.
So I think he'll win that and still win the Oscar. So I think this is like a bump in the road for him, but it's also exciting because he may not be able to sweep now, but it's more exciting for us. Like, the race is slightly more exciting, even if he still ends up winning. And I know people are, obviously upset that we got 4 white acting winners, that they deny the people of color in supporting who were the front runners. But I don't think Carrie's and Barry's win, like Barry's win is more surprising than Carrie's, but I think we just know, like, that's just kind of what BAFTA is like anyway.
Right.
Like they have a lot more racially charged like history than the Oscars do.
Certainly. And that's also part of the reason why they've changed so much of how they were nominating people, to try to avoid the complete
and like, but the whole Academy votes for the winner still, so
right. We talked about original screenplay went to Banshees. That was very widely predicted, and I think, like we saying, I think that could actually end up being the Oscar winner too. It just seems like a great, now that the Daniels have kind of like solidified their best director frontrunner status, maybe Banshees continues as a screenplay winner potentially, and then All Quiet winning adapted screenplay, which hell yeah, let's go. I got it winning at the Oscars, so why not? Let's see what else. Cinematography went to All Quiet. Did you have that? Yes.
Of course I did.
And now I think it can win at the Oscars as well. That seems like
did you not have it at the Oscars before?
I think I did, because I think I put it in. Yeah, I did.
What were you gonna put in without Top Gun there?
No, I had All Quiet, Tar.
Oh, you had Elvis when you had Elvis winning 6 Oscars.
Yes. Now I only have it winning 3, I think. So so that's good. Maybe 2. Let's see what else won at the BAFTAs. Hang on.
Just honestly, kind of incredible that Babylon pulled out the production design win over All Quiet, because 1917 won production design.
Also, All Quiet won all of these. I mean, you go through. So, like, production design was a Babylon over All Quiet, but best score was All Quiet over Babylon. We talked about
last week. Like, not. It was like a dark horse. So,
and also, again, we're just
pretty
kind of
open
like
category.
We're rubber stamping Justin Hurwitz and Babylon at the Oscars. I kind of think maybe not, actually.
Well, so like the All Quiet score is basically like 3 notes, but it's very effective.
And it's the more beloved movie. I mean, like, I keep going back to like a lot of these. I just think when it's a close race and there's not a lot of passion around one of these things, like we said, you can make a case for any of the 5 scores at the Oscars, that it probably goes to the more beloved movie that's more considered in the category. So like Everything Everywhere, you could say maybe could win here too, but I think like the All Quiet score just feels much more traditional in its note.
Literally. It's
one note. No, so production design went to Babylon, which also won at the Art Directors Guild, Joyce, which may be a great sign that it'll win at the Oscars.
I think I already have it at the Oscars.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep it there. So
All Quiet won best score, best sound, which I had it. Did you have it over Top Gun, or do you have Top Gun?
No, of course I had All Quiet. War movie, come on. But I do have Top Gun at the Oscars.
Yeah. Costume design went to Elvis, which seems great. No Black Panther here. I still think Black Panther could win at the Oscars for Ruth Carter.
I think I have Elvis at the Oscars.
But now that I think Austin's going to win, I think maybe I'll move Elvis into first. The film editing went to Everything Everywhere, which I think, again, part of the reason why I'm like, I actually think it's still like an easy front runner for Best Picture is because it won Best Editing here. I don't know. I think like clearly it's still like a major movie, I guess. No kidding, but
I don't think it doesn't need to win editing at the Oscars to win Best Picture. It already got the nomination.
No, I know, but I just feel like obviously like I think it probably will win editing at the Oscars.
I think so. I still have Top Gun winning editing and sound just because they're so linked.
Right.
and Everything Everywhere Missed Sound. So
true. Best hair and makeup went to Elvis over The Whale.
I had that.
I had The Whale. Sound, we said visual effects went to Avatar. Congratulations to Avatar. It's most locked. Now it's officially more locked than Q-Con. I feel like it's the only lock of the full lock of this.
How many did it win at BES last week?
I think it won like I don't know, so many.
I think it won 9 out of 14, and then the 5 it lost was against itself. That's what happened.
That's amazing.
So it actually didn't lose.
Truly the biggest lock in the history of locks. Casting went to Elvis, like you had mentioned. They loved Austin Butler and they love Baz. Animated feature went to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Joyce, I'll have, as it turns out, according to Guillermo del Toro, this is breaking news. Animation is not for kids. It's not a medium for kids. It's an artistic medium. Is that what he said in his speech? Have you heard that before?
It's not, though. It's not. Like, people just think it's for kids because a lot of the animated films are directed at children, but anyone of all ages can watch animated.
Netflix is really going to win like 5 or 6 Oscars this year because it's got this.
But they want the big one. That's the one they're missing.
I know. Documentary is a wild category. We had said I wasn't convinced Moon Age Daydream was going to be like the pick. I should have went with Fire of Love, and it would have lost anyway. Fire of Love went at the DGA Awards, which I was like, that's a great sign. I felt, especially over All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, because it felt like Laura Poitras would win at the DGA Awards. But no, Navalny won at the BAFTA Awards.
Yeah, just against the anti-war sentiment.
So at the Oscars, what do you think? I think it's Fire of Love and Navalny are the top 2 now.
I think it'll probably be either of those as well. I don't know.
The case for Fire of Love, I would say, is that it's like the most. It's like I think of these 5, it's probably the most widely seen. It was a big hit at the box office for a documentary, and it's also on Disney Plus, and they're really promoting it. Even more so than Navalny, even though it's on HBO Max.
Yeah, and I think I've said this before. I think after Summer of Soul won last year, it's defied the archival footage bias, which was always an issue. Like there's been a lot of notable snubs in this category because it seemed like they didn't like archival footage.
And I also think it's like the most the feels one.
It is. It's very sad.
So I think like that'll help it win. It's sad, but it's like bittersweet sad, right? Like, romance and death.
Yeah, Navalny is timely.
Right. But I think Fire of Love might win at the Oscars. I do. And then the DGA Award was like a big win for Saradosa. So
yeah, I don't know. I haven't changed out yet. I still have All the Beauty.
I had Navalny in 5th place at the BAFTAs. Way to go, self. Good job. Incredible. Best film not in the English language is All Quiet. Shocker. Banshees won Best British Film.
It couldn't pull off British Film and Best Film,
which we expected to happen. I mean, I had it as a split, but I was wrong because I had it Everything Everywhere winning. I didn't think it was going to win both. I
had it doing both because 3 Billboards did both.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't up against a war film. So.
And then the Rising Star Award went to Emma Mackey.
Another sex education. I picked the wrong one.
Yeah, went to the wrong one.
I told you I suck at that category because I don't know what the British public likes.
And then I think Charlotte Wells won Best First Feature, right, or something.
Shocking. So.
And the animated short was Boy the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, and the
An Irish Goodbye.
An Irish Goodbye won live action short. So maybe those are our front. I have Boy the Mole, Fox and the Horse at the Oscars. It feels like a strong front runner.
It's very pretty, but it's also, I think it's the longest one.
It's like 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah. And recent winners have been shorter.
Yeah.
So.
An Irish Goodbye. I have Les Pupil winning at the Oscars, but
because
the Irish Goodbye winning, I have it in second. What else? I don't have the whole list. Let me see.
We didn't mention the faux pas when they announced Kerry Condon.
Yes, because Troy Kotzer was the
we didn't see it because we were not there, and they edited it out of the broadcast that was like delayed by an hour as usual.
Troy Kotzer's an interpreter, it seems like, botched the winner announcement.
No, it was like the in-house BAFTA announcer.
Okay.
So because like even the clip that it's been heavily edited when they announce like Carrie Condon the clips that are out. So it was like the in-house BAFTA person said Carrie Mulligan instead of Carrie Condon.
Yeah.
And then they had to correct it. And then Troy was like showing her the envelope when she gets on stage. It says like Carrie Condon. So awkward. Yeah. That's their La La Land moment.
That was their La La Land moment. And then did Ariana DeBose host this show?
She did not. It was Richard E. Grant, but she opened the show like it was the Tony Awards with a questionable number.
A song and dance number where she put the names of the nominees seemingly in a song. The tweet, you sent me the tweet just now. The tweet went viral. I'll just read the tweet that you sent me. Here's what it says. No way this is real. And then it has a link to the video. So I would say just go watch this video if you can find it. Very easy to find if you put into Twitter search, even though Twitter doesn't really work anymore. Just Ariana BAFTA. Feel like you'll find it.
You also see a lot of tweets from people with screen grabs of the nominees she references in the song, their reaction shots.
Yes. My favorite was Ana de Armas. Get Ana de Armas in a comedy again.
That's a meme.
It's just the best. She's so funny. Put her in a comedy again. Free her from. I'm glad she was Oscar nominated for Blonde, but put her in something fun next time. Those are the BAFTA Awards, Joyce, and then DGA was on again, like we said, late on Saturday night / Sunday morning here. The Daniels won for Everything Everywhere.
I had them. I don't know. Not surprised.
Not surprised at all. But if you were hoping for Steven Spielberg to have any hope,
I think Steven was first in the odds.
Yeah, he was, and he did not win. And I think he has. I think the ship has sailed, Joyce, on the Steven Spielberg.
I mean, that was his last stand. So it's really, we've said this before, like his Globe win, even before he won, it could just be his Hugo Globe win. Yeah, and it really feels like it is.
Yeah. Charlotte Wells won Best First Feature. And then, like we said, Sarah Dosa won for documentary. The TV, we talked about the TV awards. We could just do that briefly. Sam Levinson won for dramatic series 2, which I loved because I love me Euphoria.
Incredible. This is what happens when Succession's not around, basically.
So the two Severance shows cancel each other out. You had predicted
I had Jason Bateman
for Ozark. And then Sam Levinson sneaks in and grabs it
because they were never going to give it to Better Call Saul. We know.
You want to take?
You mean laugh? Should I take this moment to gloat when you were like Mike White was going to win comedy series? No, my guy Bill Hader is going to win his 3rd DGA award for Barry 710 North, undefeated at DGA. So
you're right.
I knew DJ would not let me down like the Emmys do. Every time he loses at the Emmys for the same exact damn episode, he goes on to win the DGA. And I knew they would not ignore an absolute banger like 710 North.
He did it.
And I love Mike White, but let's be real. No one talks about the direction in The White Lotus.
No, it's all about the writing and the performances.
And Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
And hot people on vacation. So
congratulations. I know you were pulling for him. For limited series, Helen Shaver actually won for Station 11. This one was a chaotic category. I had the Tom Verrica for Inventing Anna.
Yeah, I ended up changing to the other Station 11 episode, the finale, which I think most people had of the Station 11s.
Yes,
and it was no,
this was pretty low, I think.
Yeah, I would assume it was probably dead last in the odds. But you know what this actually reminded me of? Her win. It reminded me of Nicole Castle winning for Watchmen for It's Summer and We're Running Out of Ice when most people were predicting Stephen Williams for This Extraordinary Being.
Yes. I'm looking at which episode this is to see here. It's the penultimate. No, is it the penultimate episode maybe? Let me see.
Who's there?
No, it's the anti-penultimate.
The anti-penultimate.
Yeah, this is a good one. I mean, the show rules, so I'm like not shocked. I think this ends with Tyler blowing up the thing, maybe. I don't know.
But good for Station 11 to get a big win.
Love it. Love to see it. Great show. Yeah, that is when Tyler goes into the Severn City and like torches the museum. That's a spoiler that I will get yelled at for a show that's
the show is over a year
13 months old, 14 months old show.
Once something is out for public consumption, you can talk
Joyce,
about
I'm telling you the comments. I got screamed at in the comments the other day because we said MODOK was in Ant-Man.
That's already been out.
Truly in the trailer. They talked about it. We didn't even say
if it's out in the trailer, the company is using that as part of its promotion.
Yes.
You can talk about it.
Anyway, directing for Variety Talk was SNL. I think we had that one. Directing an achievement for Variety Talk News Sports Specials was Glenn Weiss for the Tony Awards choice.
And then he revealed that he and his fiance, to whom he proposed at the Emmys in 2018, finally got married on Valentine's Day.
And that was about it. We didn't really the other categories we never really talked about, but that's it.
Yeah. So
what do you think, Joyce?
The Daniels,
the Daniels.
I mean, like today, even though they didn't win, it's their best case scenario if they were not going to win.
It feels like they had a great day. I agree, because the person who won cannot win at the Oscars, and there's no other real competitor for them at the Oscars.
And then like Banshees didn't even win Best Picture there at BAFTA. So
right. So it's like Martin McDonagh never felt like a real contender. I think Spielberg now is out. I think Todd Field should have won at BAFTA if he was going to win. So I feel like the Daniels are kind of like locked and loaded now. And then that opens up them winning Best Picture, which we'll see at PGA, and it could leave screenplay available for Martin McDonagh.
Yeah.
When we were ranking this previously, I was like, I think the thing people love about Everything Ever is the movie itself, the whole movie, and then the cast, and then probably the writing, and then their directing. But now I'm like, maybe I was totally wrong about all of that. And it's the directing and the movie and the writing. They're like, okay, whatever. The idea is great, but I'd rather vote for Banshees because it's a
I think it's also like Banshees is the more writerly script,
right?
But Everything Everywhere is more high concept, right, which they also responded to. But I think their forthcoming ? Directing win is also just kind of like them being the masterminds behind it,
right? Too, and and when that happens, then I'm like, I really don't think I don't know if we always talk about this. I'm like, did they really vote like this, or they just vote for what they like? But I'm like, if somebody's sitting there like filling out their ballot and they're like, the masterminds of this movie are the Daniels as directors, I'm gonna vote for them, and then get the screenplay, won't they be like, didn't I just vote for these guys? Like, why would I vote for them again? I don't know. Maybe they'll just vote for Martin McDonagh in that case.
I feel like a lot of, if you really love that movie, you'll probably just vote for them in both. I don't know. It's right. It's a negotiation. It's an individual negotiation,
right,
for everyone. Like if you might have a favorite movie, but it's not up against something you in a particular craft that you think is better, so you might vote for the other thing in that craft. So, I don't know. So I mean, like before today, I had Todd Field in second at the Oscars, but now I'm like, he didn't even like win. I mean, I didn't have him winning at BAFTA, but like, if he had won there, which I wouldn't have been totally surprised by, like, I would be like, I think I would still have kept him because the Daniels won DGA. I would still kept him in second, but I'd be like, oh, he's the runner-up, and now I'm just like, who's the runner-up?
Well,
like that's the thing, right? Like,
I don't know.
Is it just Spielberg?
I mean, let's look at this again here. I mean, maybe McDonagh's the runner-up. He's got the most beloved other movie. Yeah,
but that everyone always acts like
it directed itself.
No one, the director did not exist. Like he's nominated, but
I honestly still think Field is 2. I don't know. I just think it feels like right. But in our odds, Spielberg is 2, McDonagh is 3, and Field is 4.
If
I don't know. It just feels like no one else is going to win that category. There's no, even just looking at it, you're like, who else would win here? It's just, there's nobody else.
yeah, and I don't. So the other thing about the Fabelmans is it just going to go home empty-handed?
Absolutely.
The TIFF winner.
I think it will. I don't think it can win anything. It would win score.
I guess its best chance is score, but I've not been feeling John Williams for
I have it in fifth in score.
I don't even know where I have it.
Just remarkable. I don't
know, because that's it would basically be a legacy win if he won score, but I don't know where else it can be saved from going 0 for 7.
I don't know.
Like Judd Hirsch is not going to win. Michelle Williams is not going to win. Yeah. And then will Steven ever win a third?
I don't think so. I guess not. I mean, maybe an honorary Oscar. He should have won so many of these. It's like kind of criminal that he doesn't. Like we were saying, he should have won for Lincoln when maybe instead of Ang Lee, but
it's weird because it feels like he was probably closest to his third with Lincoln than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I guess that's it. I'm going through my Oscar picks. I'm just making a mess of them right now, Joyce. Just
I haven't really touched them.
I'll tell you what.
Because I was like, I already have almost everything.
I did everything.
I mean, so BAFTA doesn't have song. I still have Not To, and I don't really know if that's winning.
So let's think about that for a second, because I agree with you. We definitely have Not To there because everyone wants it to win. But it seems like it has been maybe slightly forgotten about. The enthusiasm from the film Twitter world has died down, obviously. Not a surprise. I have the Everything Everywhere song in second. The Sunlux or Mink who is it? Minka? Who sings this song?
Who sings it? Well, no, like you mean the writers.
Yeah, well, who's the writers? But I think
it's them, and I mean that's multiple people, but
who's the nominee though? Let's take a look.
It's well, I think one of them from, or all of them. Oh no, just Ryan, and then David Byrne and Mitski, and then lyrics by Ryan and David Byrne.
So I think that could win. I really do.
I think that would win if they just really don't care about any of these.
Which they might not.
But it's also like Top Gun is a strong movie too.
I mean, Top Gun could go home empty-handed in my calculus now. I think it could lose editing and sound.
I think it could still win both.
Definitely could still win both, but I do think like you could make a case that Everything Everywhere wins editing because it's the most editing, like we've been saying, and a lot of times that is the hallmark of an editing winner at the Oscars, rightly or wrongly. Most editing is the best editing.
Yeah, but again, I'm just gonna go by the sound stat. So
right, and then the sound, and then you would say like All Quiet would maybe win sound. So then Top Gun can go over 6.
But it still is in play here.
It is, and I think it's a great song, but I'm just like, I don't know if people care about it. What if Diane Warren
care about any of these songs?
What if Diane Warren finally wins then too? That's an easy one to think about as well. Like,
I think Diane would be a winner by now if it were just a music branch voting for winners.
Certainly, and like God knows, like
actually, that's kind of how I feel about Todd Field and director. I think if only the directing branch voted for winners, he would win. Like he just like PTA delivered the speech at DGA.
Yes.
And he called it a ghost story, which I was like, that's actually a great way of putting it. And he, like we've both said, he agrees that Tar is very, very funny. Like yes.
Yeah, I was surprised. I saw some people saying it's not funny. I was like, it's really
they're
funny.
wrong because it's hilarious.
It's so funny. But it's funny in that PTA way that like Phantom Thread is funny. So like, I guess if you're not really on that wavelength, I guess maybe you wouldn't get it. But I'm like, I think it's pretty funny, and I do think it's a ghost story that there's really compelling cases for the whole last act being not legitimate.
I don't like. I hate the discourse in the past week that the third act is a dream sequence because I'm like, no.
I'd say what did you read the Slate article from a couple of weeks ago? It's like pretty convincing.
Yes,
it at least makes a better case than just like people shouting about it on Twitter. It does kind of make a case. I don't agree with it either because the movie's not like that, but it's not in play, let's say.
I mean, it's definitely it's open to interpretation because that's what they want anyway, so it's fine. I'm not like, I just don't think based on, like you said, like what the movie is like the other 2.5 hours, that's what they're going for. But I know he's never going to correct you.
No. Also, no disrespect to anybody who subscribes to this, like the Slate piece, but like the movie's been out for like 5 months. You think you're the first, like you just cracked the case on this one? I have a hard.
Well, it's more that it's now on Peacock too, so it's
right.
like
Sure, no, I get it. I get it, but I'm just like, it's been out for a while. A lot of people have seen it, even if it flopped. Somebody else would have maybe said it. I don't know. It's like probably just take it at face value. It's a strange movie, intentionally so. But it is a compelling case, and it's interesting discourse. I don't know. I can see, not like you said this, I think, way back. Not to could easily be Husavik. So there's no real. I mean, if you go by the movies, it's the weakest movie other than Tell It Like a Woman in this category. RRR. So it could win. I think it doesn't need to necessarily win because it got nominated. They'll perform it at the Oscars. It'll be a great moment. And whether it wins or loses, who really cares in the end? I mean, they will care, obviously, the nominees. But, in the viewing audience, and the Academy might just be like, yeah, that was really fun. I'm glad it got nominated, but I'd rather vote for this song I don't remember from Everything Everywhere because it's the movie I love.
Again, they should just do what we've always talked about: vote for the winner after the performances.
That would have. This Is Me would have won. The Lady Gaga Diane Warren song would have won.
Diane Warren would have a competitive Oscar already.
What was that song from Hunting Ground? Great song.
Till It Happens to You.
That was one of the best Oscar performances. Should have easily won. They should absolutely. That would be. See, those are.
It should be like American Idol.
would that go over well with the film Twitter and the Academy at large? Like, these are the nominees. You're going to perform them live. The winners will be voted in the room.
ABC. The Academy itself does not care about like the viewing, but like ABC does. Like if they want more viewers to tune in, make it interactive.
You have live voting interactive. There's all Academy members in the room, so it still would be legitimate. And you say, all of these are nominees. We're going to do the performances, and then whoever gets the most Academy members in the audience wins. Basically,
it doesn't need just to be the people in the room. Like you could. Everyone at home, like all the Academy members around the world, they could still vote.
Yeah, sure. So, I guess figure out a way to do it. I would weigh in on that. Would be such a great. That would make it so fun. It would be so cool, and you could do them all throughout the show, and then announce the winner towards the end. It would be a winner. That's a really good idea.
We would just have a lot of different winners if that's how they did it.
I know there's a difference between like live performance and like doing it, but I'm also like, most of these songs are credit songs, so it doesn't really matter. And it should just be like the song. It should be the song. If you're going to just vote for it on that aspect, like Not to, like we said, and Husavik too, are part of the movie. So they're like actually like factor heavily in the movie. All these other ones are just songs. I mean, I know that Hold My Hand is in Top Gun, but it's like not like something that you would be like, oh man, remember that? It's not like Layla.
No,
it's not like
playing in the bar, but also the melody is woven into the new score, so it is familiar in that way. It's like the Titanic score in My Heart Will Go On.
But it's still like a credit song. So I'm like, if you play it live, that should have like, might as well. Like they're not really saying any, like they're just voting for the songs. Then you know what I mean? It's not like they're voting for the songs aspect of it in the movie. Like Not to maybe they would be, but. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's really hard to say what the category should be. Like, is it just about songwriting? No, because it's not like the Grammys, like Song of the Year, Bonnie Raitt, Song of the Year winner. Yeah, because it's like in relation to the movie, but then you also want it to be part of the movie or work in the movie somehow, but end credit songs are eligible, and that's how, you know, a lot of these people get their nominations.
Right. It really does actually work in the movie. So then it should go back to maybe the songwriting and the song, and then it's like, maybe we should just perform it live and have you vote for it. I'd be so in on that. That would be, what a wonderful thing. But anyway, I could see everything ever winning here. I really could. I don't know. I'm not convinced Not To is going to win.
I know. I mean, remember all the hype from the past week about if Rihanna's halftime performance would push her to the win.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
I also wonder if they'll be able to get her to perform, obviously, because she's pregnant, but she was.
I think she'll perform. Like,
probably will. She went to the Golden Globes. There she was, just sitting there. I still can't believe it.
And like she's probably just in her second trimester.
Yeah. I mean, she was flying through the air at the Super Bowl. I'm sure she could stand on the Oscar stage and
and that platform was wobbling in the air. So
yeah, I'm sure she could sit there and lip sync "Lift Me Up" to the Oscar nominees in the crowd. I guess that's it, Joyce. What do we got? Anything else before we sign off? I guess we'll be back. We'll be back later this week to preview TGA and SAG. Can't wait to give our predictions on those.
I don't even know if I will change anything.
I might not. We'll see. I haven't looked at SAG in a little while, so maybe I might need to change things because I might have I might just
go to Kate for SAG too.
Yes.
I already have Austin there.
So. Yeah, let's do it. All right, Joyce, I'll talk to you later. Bye.